September 8th, 2025, the night the Global South finally stood up to the United States. In 90 minutes, behind closed doors, leaders representing over half of humanity made 5 decisions that could shatter the dollar, end the age of sanctions, and rewrite world power. This is not a distant drama. It will hit your paycheck, your democracy, and your children's survival. By the end of this story, you will know exactly how. You're watching the progressive wave: truth, resistance, and no compromise. Subscribe now and join a movement that refuses silence. This is not entertainment, it is resistance. The story begins with an act of economic warfare. The administration of Donald Trump imposed tariffs of 50% on Brazil and India, 30% on South Africa, punishments dressed up as policy. Washington expected these nations to fold. Instead, BRICS declared that an attack on one is an attack on all. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian called it a joint mechanism to shield members from unlawful sanctions. For decades, nations were left isolated, strangled one by one. But on September 8th, 5 countries stood together and said, no more. That night, the Global South built a shield, and here is the human cost. A study published in The Lancet Global Health found that unilateral sanctions by the United States and the European Union caused more than 560,000 excess deaths every single year across 5 decades. That is nearly 29 million lives lost, over half of them children under 5 years old. Sanctions are invisible bombs, silent, slow, but just as deadly as war. Comment below. Do you think Americans are ready to confront the blood on their tariffs? Type "sanctions kill" if you refuse to look away. The summit's second decision struck at the heart of empire, the dollar. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov announced new steps to build alternatives. We are not talking about a symbolic shift. BRICS collectively controls more than $60 trillion in assets, over half the world's total. India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar reframed deficits within the bloc as opportunities for innovation. They are building parallel systems, brick by brick, to escape American arbitrariness. This is dollar collapse in real time. Would you trust a world without the dollar at the center? Drop your take below. Every leader agreed on another truth. The global system is failing. Xi Jinping called for a more just and equitable governance structure. Lula demanded the expansion of the United Nations Security Council to include Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said plainly that the Security Council no longer fulfills its mandate. Cyril Ramaphosa reminded the world, consensus is built through negotiation, not coercion. Here is the contradiction. America preaches democracy abroad while clinging to a veto system that silences most of humanity. How long will we accept this hypocrisy? Then came trade. BRICS leaders pledged to build shorter, more resilient supply chains within their bloc. Democratization of manufacturing and production, Jaishankar said. Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto warned that finance is being weaponized. China's Belt and Road Initiative stepped forward as the backbone for this new trade order. Trade should feed people, not starve them. Should BRICS reform the system or burn it down? Let's see your answers in the comments. And then came the ultimatum. Lula denounced the paralysis of the World Trade Organization. Xi Jinping demanded a return to its principles: open, fair, transparent, inclusive. Ramaphosa called on BRICS to strengthen the multilateral system. The choice was made clear: reform or be replaced. Either the WTO becomes truly multilateral or BRICS builds something better. Lula even proposed a United Nations Climate Change Council to centralize global climate governance. BRICS is not just reshaping trade, it is thinking about survival on a planetary scale. Notice the timing. The very next day, September 9th, the United Nations General Assembly opened in New York. Brazil traditionally gives the first speech. This year it carried the unified BRICS message onto the world's biggest stage, that more than half of humanity refuses to be bullied by economic blackmail. Ramaphosa captured it perfectly. BRICS is now a stable, predictable, mutually beneficial partner amidst global disruption. The numbers do not lie. 55% of the world's people, 40% of global wealth standing together. The American empire is cracking, and a multipolar world is being born, not in decades, but in real time, right now. September 8th will be remembered as the day the Global South rose and said, enough. If you believe silence makes us complicit, smash that like button. If this shocked you, comment below. The 5 decisions of this emergency summit were not just policies. They were the blueprint for a new world where coercion is no longer destiny. The world just changed. And the question is, will you? Like, share, and subscribe, because this channel dismantles the myths of empire and speaks truth without compromise. Together, we are building resistance.